let's be real for a second. We all saw Martin Richardson wake up in that hospital bed after the terrifying tornado ripped through the Fairmont Crest Country Club. We saw him open his eyes, look up at his family, smile, that charming signature smile of his, and even crack a few jokes. He was diagnosed with a mild concussion after the horrific event where he heroically announced a donation to the tornado relief before suddenly groaning and collapsing. It was a scary moment, but when he woke up, everyone breathed a massive sigh of relief. He felt lucky. He wanted to go home immediately because the primary election was the very next day. But here is the kicker. Dr. Madison Montgomery, our dedicated and brilliant medical professional, stood right over his bed and explicitly listed every single symptom of a concussion. She looked Martin right in the eye and gave him strict, non-negotiable instructions to rest and return to the hospital if he felt even slightly off. And what does Martin do? He completely brushes it off. Typical politician, right? I have to say, I am absolutely furious with him right now. You just survived a literal natural disaster that destroyed the country club. A chandelier nearly crushed Abby Newman Winters, and your first thought is the primary election? Are you kidding me? Let us dive deep into the psychology of Martin Richardson for a moment to understand why he is acting this way. Martin is a legacy character. He carries the immense weight of the Richardson-Smith family name on his shoulders. He has spent his entire life trying to prove himself, trying to be the perfect leader for this community. He feels an overwhelming sense of duty, especially after the tornado. He thinks that if he stops, if he rests, he is letting the people of Fairmont Crest down. But I argue that his actions are incredibly selfish. He is not thinking about Smitty. He is not thinking about Tyrell or Samantha. He is only thinking about the campaign. He is working himself to the absolute bone, and with the frequency and intensity of his campaign schedule, he is actively ruining his own health. Fast forward to the morning of the primary election. The atmosphere is electric. The polls are open, the reporters are buzzing, and the citizens of Fairmont Crest are out in full force. Martin is right there in the center of it all, but he is not okay. He is feeling dizzy. The room is spinning. His vision is blurring at the edges. But does he stop? No. He pushes through. He forces that winning smile onto his face and keeps shaking hands. It is a classic soap opera trope, characters ignoring their fatal symptoms, but it is executed so brilliantly here that you cannot help but scream at your screen. Stop, Martin! Just sit down! Meanwhile, back at Garland Memorial Hospital, a completely different kind of nightmare is unfolding. Dr. Kial Rollins is sitting in his office, meticulously reviewing the follow-up test results from Martin's initial injury. Kial is a phenomenal doctor, and he does not miss a single detail. As he analyzes the scans, his face drops. He spots an abnormality. A terrifying, glaring abnormality in Martin's brain scans that was either missed in the initial rush or has developed rapidly since his discharge. What could it be? A slow bleeding epidural hematoma? Swelling that is cutting off oxygen to his brain? Whatever it is, Kial realizes instantly that Martin's life is in imminent catastrophic danger. Kial immediately seeks out Nicole Dupree. Nicole is already drowning in an ocean of stress. She has been managing the hospital chaos, dealing with Leslie Thomas, losing her mind over Eva's critical liver transplant situation, and trying to keep Tyrell and Samantha calm at the brownstone. When Kial pulls Nicole aside and explains his suspicions and the abnormal test results, you can literally see the blood drain from Nicole's face. She is absolutely terrified. She knows Martin is out there right now, standing under the bright lights of the election headquarters, pushing his traumatized brain far beyond its limits. The panic sets in. They have to get to him before it is too late. But time is already running out. Back at the election venue, everything seems to be going smoothly. The early numbers are looking fantastic. Martin's supporters are cheering. He is standing on the stage, the flashing cameras capturing his every move. But internally, his body is shutting down. The dizzy spells are no longer just passing moments. They are overwhelming waves of neurological failure. The noise of the crowd fades into a deafening, high-pitched ringing in his ears. He tries to focus on Smitty, who is smiling proudly in the front row, but Smitty's face becomes a blur. And then the unthinkable happens. Martin loses complete control of his body. He faints. He does not just stumble, he collapses hard, crumbling to the floor right in front of the entire town. The crowd gasps. The cheers turn into horrified screams. Smitty rushes the stage, his heart shattering into a million pieces. People are swarming around him, shouting for help, calling 911. This is not like the first time. There are no jokes being cracked as he is loaded onto the stretcher. There is no reassuring smile. Martin is completely unresponsive. He is rushed back to Garland Memorial Hospital with sirens blaring, tearing through the streets of Fairmont Crest. When he arrives, Kial and Madison are waiting. They rush him into the trauma bay, but the reality is incredibly grim. Martin has fallen into a deep, unyielding coma. His brain has simply had enough. The devastation that follows is hard to even put into words. Smitty and Nicole are completely broken down. Bradley Smitty Smith has been the absolute rock of this family. He has supported Martin's political ambitions. He has dealt with the press. He has been the perfect partner. To see the man he loves lying there, hooked up to life support machines, unresponsive and fading away, is a tragedy that will bring viewers to tears. Smitty's going to blame himself. He is going to wonder why he did not force Martin to stay in bed. Nicole is equally destroyed. We have seen Nicole be the strong, pragmatic anchor for the Dupree and Richardson families. She just gave a speech to the kids about how lucky they were that Martin only had a mild concussion. And now she has to look those same children in the eyes and tell them that their father might never wake up. It is a cruel, heartbreaking twist of fate. They survived the physical destruction of the tornado, but the emotional destruction is just beginning. Let us compare this to what is happening elsewhere in town. We just lost Derek Baldwin. Derek died a hero, taking a bullet to save Jacob Hawthorne. The entire town is already drowning in grief. Ashley Morgan and Shanice Johnson are barely holding it together, planning a private memorial for a man who gave his life for someone else. And now Martin is risking his life for a political campaign? It feels almost tragic in its irony. Derek did not have a choice in his death, but Martin actively chose to ignore medical advice. It makes the situation so much more frustrating. And let us not forget the chaos happening just down the hall. Eva Thomas is literally fighting for her life, needing a living liver donor after her horrific fall in the stairwell. Kat Richardson is consumed by guilt, and Leslie Thomas is having a complete mental breakdown, desperately offering to donate her own liver. Garland Memorial is a war zone of emotions right now. The Hawthorne family is rallying together, the Richardson Smith family is falling apart, and the Dupree family is caught right in the middle of it all. So, what happens next? Many fans are flooding the forums, completely convinced that Martin will bounce back because he is a legacy character and a main pillar of the show. People think the writers will not actually kill him off. But I actually think the writers are setting up a massive, landscape-changing tragedy here. Think about it. If Martin remains in a deep coma, what happens to the primary election? Does Smitty step up and take his place on the ballot to honor his legacy? That would be an incredible storyline. Imagine Smitty, fueled by grief and determination, taking down the corrupt politicians in Fairmont Crest in Martin's name. Furthermore, how will this impact Kial and Nicole's dynamic? Kial was the one who found the abnormality. Will Nicole blame him for not finding it sooner? Grief makes people do terrible, irrational things. Nicole might push Kial away just as their connection is deepening. And what about Tyrell and Samantha? Tyrell is already heartbroken over his breakup with Jessica Harris. This news about his father might completely send him over the edge. Will he turn to rebellious behavior? Will Samantha be forced to grow up too fast to hold her brother together? I have to say, the writing team for Beyond the Gates is delivering Emmy-worthy material right now. They are weaving these storylines together perfectly. The fallout from the plasma ring, the tornado, and now Martin's deep coma are creating a perfect storm of drama. I am on the edge of my seat. Do you guys think Martin is going to wake up. Do you think Smitty will take over the campaign? Drop your theories in the comments below because I want to hear what you think about this absolute madness